Stacy Tuschl, tell us, how are you rocking the podcast?
I have my own show called The Business Rescue Roadmap, and then I also do several other podcast interviews. But I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I interview 2 guest experts, and then I do Friday a solo cast too. So that's been fun to have that mix there.
Yeah, so why did you decide to do 3 days a week? That is a lot of podcasting.
So I originally came into it just 1 day a week, and as I was kind of getting that built up library, I thought, okay, this isn't bad. If I could batch it, just 1 day a week, I would be able to keep this up. So I immediately, before I launched, switched it from 1 to 3. And I think because I have a solo cast in there, it's so easy to make that work on your schedule. So 3 it's not as bad as it sounds. People always say that. That's a lot. I promise it's not that bad.
Awesome. And when you go on other shows as a guest, what are you getting exposure for? Like, what are the main areas of expertise or the main stories that you're sharing, and to what kinds of audiences?
So typically my ideal clientele, they are women entrepreneurs, but I do go on a lot of shows that, I might not be reaching completely 100% women entrepreneurs, but I know there's going to be somebody in there that's going to resonate with my story and want to reach out. So that's typically who I look for. But I've been on shows that don't relate to business. But again, I know there's going to be somebody listening that is going to be a woman who's in entrepreneurship and she's doing her own thing. So that's typically who I reach out to, who I look to get on their show specifically.
Awesome. And do you have any fun stories of how podcasting from both sides of the mic, or as a host or a guest, how it's grown your business? What are some of the impacts it has had on you?
So many different things that I could share here. And here's the thing. It's not just about getting on these amazing, high visible shows. So I've got 2 different ones I want to share with you. Mm-hmm. So recently I was on EO Fire. Yes, it gave me a ton of visibility. To be on a show where somebody knows, likes, and trusts the host so well. I mean, I immediately was converting people into coaching clients and, booking summits and getting on other podcasts, just a really great way for visibility. But you're not going to just get on a show like that immediately from the get-go. So people are sometimes nervous. Should I do the new and noteworthy shows? Should I get on something that they may not have an audience? But I have a really great example from one of my coaching clients. So I always ask, how did you hear about me? And this girl said, well, I was listening to a podcast that I randomly found. I don't even listen to that podcast. She just was going through iTunes. They were on the new and noteworthy because they were new. And she said, you happen to be the guest expert they were interviewing. And she never listened to one of those podcasts again. She came over to me, found my podcast, signed up for my group coaching. So don't think you have to just be on the really big ones. Even the small ones, if there's 100 people, 100 downloads, all you need is one person sometimes to sign up.
That's such a great story. And I love that it really promotes the idea of having your own podcast as well, because she's like, I really like this guest, not really interested in this show, but I want more of the guests. And if she's looking for a podcast to listen to, it's natural for her to go and then listen to your podcast. And when you have your own podcast, that's where you have the ability to talk all about your business. I was listening to the School of Podcasting this morning, and at the very end, Dave was talking all about his course and how he teaches people. That wouldn't be appropriate on somebody else's show to be talking all about what he sells, but on your podcast, that's where you can really talk about what you offer and then lead people and convert them into clients.
Absolutely. So that's just, one of the many stories that I have of how podcasting has grown my business.
That is so great. And tell us about your business. We'll give a little plug around what you do. What kinds of people do you interview on your show? And then what kinds, I guess you talked about what kinds of shows you go on, but tell us how to find you and what should we look for with your stuff?
Yeah. So my story is I have been an entrepreneur since 18. I started very young, turned that business into a 7-figure business. I now coach other women entrepreneurs how to take their passion and actually make it profitable. My 7-figure business is from a dance studio. We sell children's dance classes. So it's not a typical industry you would think, but that just kind of shows people you can do anything and make money from it. So I walk them through how to do that. And So I mostly teach them high performance strategies, really taking that business and making it profitable, kind of from the hobby stage to the actual business stage. My show is called Business Rescue Roadmap, and I interview guest experts that either have had success from their business, they can share certain tips and tools and strategies, or they have a specialized, they're an expert in something specific. So if it's going to help my entrepreneurs, whether it's Facebook ads, somebody like you who could come on and say, hey, we've got it, podcasting and why this would be a great fit for you. So somebody to either give them some amazing tips and tools on what they do, or just general business, what they've done to get where they are today.
That is great. And how can we find you online? What website should we send people to?
So you can either go to stacytuschl.com. That's kind of my main home site there. Got lots of free goodies and things on there to give away. And then as well as the businessrescueroadmap.com. That will give you, again, just more information on my podcast specifically.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stacy. And friends, for those of you watching here, if you want help rocking the podcast from both sides of the mic like Stacy does as a host, as a guest, go to interviewconnections.com. We'll get you booked for podcast interviews. We'll find guests for your show, and you'll be on your business roadmap to success. Thank you so much, Stacy.
Thanks, Jessica.